Hi, I'm Chris
Ay,
Wilson
ay.
from
Ay, que
Grinding Gear
empieza.
Games.
Ay, que
Thanks
empieza.
so much for joining us here today. And today
Cero,
is
cero.
the day about
Cero,
Path of
cero,
Exile.
cero.
You're going to find out a lot of
Chris.
awesome stuff we've been working on.
Hola.
Before we get
Qué
started,
guapo
though,
que
I
es.
wanted to mention that there are Twitch drops that you can win. Below the live stream, there are some instructions for signing up and linking your Twitch account with your Path of Exile account. And if you do that, you'll be eligible to receive
Esas son las
drops.
alitas.
So
Guapísimas.
today's live stream has got 4 sections. They say you should start your show with a bang, so
Se me
we're going
ve
to
bien,
start
¿no?
right off with Path of Exile 2.
Van a empezar
After
con el
that,
PoE
we're gonna
2.
show you Path of
Van a
Exile
empezar con el
Ultimate.
PoE 2.
This is an expansion for regular Path of Exile that's coming out literally next week. After that, we're going to be joined
Y
by
gameplay.
Seguirme, who's going to host a Q&A where he asks me a whole bunch of questions from Twitch chat. So if you have any questions
Hijos
about
de
the
puta,
various
¿cómo
reveals,
se la
make sure
saben?
to keep them for the Q&A. Then there's
Ala,
going to be a
ala, ala.
live episode of the Bay Class podcast where Take Cat and his crew of Path of Exile veterans are going to discuss all of the things we've announced today. They'll be joined by Reacción, who's the Grinding Gear Games developer who is in charge of the development of the Ultimatum League. Alright, let's get started. You're probably wondering why has it been so long since we last showed you any
Vale,
Path
que
of
está
Exile
contando lo que nos va a hacer.
And
Es que lo
honestly,
escucho,
this
lo
is
escucho
because the
bajito.
project is so important to us that we are definitely taking our time to make sure that we make the best.
Vale, que no,
possible
porque hace
action
mucho que no
RPG.
escuchamos nada del
Let's watch
PoE
the new
2.
trailer.
Vale, dice que han querido definitivamente tomarse un tiempo para hacer las cosas bien. Vamos a mantener un vistazo de qué viene. ¡Ay, mi madre!
Among ancient ruins, evil
No estoy leyendo el
grows
chat, no
once
puedo.
more.
¡Hala! ¡Hala! ¡Cinemáticas en el PoE!
Advances,
¡No!
spreading
No, no,
dread
no,
and
no, no.
despair.
¿Qué dices?
We must give chase.
¡Hala! ¡Hala! ¡Hola! ¡Ahí va! ¿Qué dices? ¡Hala, hala, 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 hala! ¡Hola! ¡Hostia!
These sands hide countless secrets.
¡Hostia! ¡Qué bien se ve!
1,000 years of dormant.
Y por lo menos a 20 FPS. ¡Hala! El quitaba de hacendado.
Down the seed and put an end to this madness. If Reacción
Sauron, ese era Sauron.
is to survive,
Dios, ala, 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 ala. Ala, esto es gameplay, esto es gameplay. O sea, todo lo que han enseñado es gameplay, ¿no? Pero... Y esto en los primeros actos, que se ve que tiene pociones de mierda. ¡Ala, la barra de vida ha cambiado! ¡Uy, mi... ¿Pero qué cojones acabo de ver?
The
¡Hala!
trailer really shows what we have achieved with Path of Exile.
¡Hala! A tomar
I am
por culo
so
mis bajas
proud of the efforts of the
expectativas.
entire team
A
in
tomar
putting
por
that together.
culo. ¿Pero qué
At
narices?
ExileCon, we announced that Path of Exile 2 is a true sequel.
¡Qué
to Path of
maravilla!
Exile. So that means a new 7-act campaign.
Las manitas donde podamos
Whole
verlas.
new
Sí, sí, sí,
skill
aquí.
system, new items, new
Pero que tiene
monsters,
cinemáticas y
character
todo.
classes,
Este es el
all
inicio,
the
¿vale?
ascendancy classes
Que
are
conseguimos
completely
escapar.
new. It's got cutting-edge next-generation graphics.
Esto
as
ya
you
lo hemos
just
visto.
saw.
Esto no.
Basically, it's everything
Hola, el
you would expect
transformado.
from a sequel to Path of Exile. But we're not just
Eh,
throwing away our
no lo-
legacy.
no lo he llegado a
We're
leer.
embracing it. Both campaigns will be fully playable from within the same game plan. You'll be able to play
Dios,
through
qué
the original
precioso.
Path of Exile storyline or the new Path of Exile 2 campaign on the way to the shared endgame. All of your old characters
Vale,
will
se
still
pueden
be
jugar
playable,
ambas
and of course,
campañas.
any microtransaction purchases you've made in Path
Guau.
of Exile will carry on to the sequel. At ExileCon, we introduced the Dark
Vuestros
Forests of the
todos
island
vuestros
world
personajes
where you
seguirán
start
siendo
your journey.
jugables.
Today, we're proud to showcase Path of Exile
Wow.
2's second act, which takes place in the Vastiri Desert. Welcome to Path of Exile 2's second act. As
Vale,
you
que
saw in the
nos
trailer,
enseñaron la
Act
otra
2
vez
is
en
centered
lo que es
around
el
a
acto
caravan
1
of
y ahora el
Marrakech
acto 2.
called the Ardura, who live in the Vastiri Desert.
El segundo acto del
You're
Path of
chasing
Exile
another
2.
caravan from an opposing tribe called the Faradun. There's a set of
Una
large
caravana de
ancient gates
Marrakech.
blocking the progress of the caravan
Un
through a
desierto.
desert pass, so you're being sent through the Traitor's Passage to unlock them.
We shall wait here, Jingak. But the military carts have departed for the gates. Make haste.
Wow, que se ve
Path of
muy
Exile
bien.
2 is a lot more
Tío,
than
mira
just
la
new
iluminación,
act.
mira
We
las
want combat
sombras.
to feel both brutal and responsive,
¿Cómo me lo voy a
even at
bajar
low
todo al
levels.
mínimo para jugar a más FPS?
We're
Pero joder,
ensuring
qué
that
bonito
each
se ve.
weapon type has unique
¡Hala!
and different
No era una
mechanics.
entrada.
Each weapon class feels different to play, and today we're going to
¡Hala!
start
Mira
by
esas
demonstrating the new
animaciones. ¿Qué
spear
dices?
weapon class.
¡Qué hijos de puta!
Spears are a
¡Qué bien
weapon
lo han
class
hecho!
favoring mobility with both melee and ranged attack options. To that end, each spear will grant you at least one mobility skill. In this case, the
Pero
sphere
actívate
comes
las
with both
auras.
engage and
Pero actívate
disengage
las
skills.
auras.
When you engage, it increases your melee
Un
damage
portal
for a
scroll.
short time, and that really encourages you to be mobile
Oye,
during
no están
combat.
cayendo ítems. ¿Lo habéis visto? Ha mostrado un portal scroll, pero el resto de bichos no tira ítems. Mira, un
One of
scroll.
the skills we're using
Wisdom,
here is
¿y los
called Whirling
ítems?
Slash. When you use Whirling Slash, it creates a sandstorm that
Están
grows
con la
in size
Z, ¿no?
each time
Porque-
you use the
¡Ay,
skill.
mira!
When you leave the sandstorm, it explodes, dealing damage to nearby monsters. A great way to do that is to use the disengage skill, which makes you fly backwards and throw projectiles.
Cromático. Hostia, caen muy pocos ítems, ¿eh? No, pero mira el suelo, no hay ítems. Ah, sí tiene filtro, ¿no? No. ¡Hala! ¿Lo habéis visto? ¿Lo habéis visto ese micro lagazo? Qué riquiño el drop de FPS. Ya decía yo que le faltaba algo a esto.
One thing I love about this boss in particular is that it destroys the ceiling.
Oh,
and
cada
sides
área
of
va a
the
tener
ground,
un
letting
boss,
in more
¿entendió
light.
bien?
Clever players will notice that if they're standing in the light, then they're not going to have any rocks falling on their head.
¡Hala! Tira al techo cuando le estás
The
pegando.
rapid assault skill that we're using against this boss does 3
¡Hala,
rapid
hala,
stabs,
hala!
followed by a 4th
Pero esto es
stab
el
that
acto
deals more
2.
damage and can
Nos han
stun
puesto a
if
un
you're
boss
willing to
con
commit to a
mecánicas de
long
Sirius
attack.
para el acto 2. Es mentira,
Although
luego vas a llegar, le vas a
skills
dar
are
dos
too,
hostias y
we
lo
were
vas a
really
matar.
thinking a lot about
Espero que
designing
no,
skills
¿vale?
that can be
Pero
cancelled
tiene
early to
pinta.
dodge, or you can commit to the full attack for maximum damage.
Wow. Vale, básicamente que quieren que estés dodgeando porque si no estás F. Pero se ve precioso. Mira la luz, mira la luz. ¡Eh! Pero coge el frasco. ¡Hala! Está precioso, ¿eh? Harán más lento, van a ser menos actos, son solo 7 actos. Así que los actos definitivamente serán más largos. Por separado, quiero decir.
As the monsters move towards you, they take damage. So using your mobility skills as a way to move away from them is a great strategy here.
Oh, básicamente te ayudan tirando flechazos y los bichos que pisan encima sangran, ¿no? ¿Entiendo? ¿Entendido? A lo mejor lo he entendido mal. Vale, han invertido mucho en las animaciones. Ahora que me enseñen un 100% delirio. ¡Oh! Que ahora cuando utilizas el frasco de movimiento, el personaje sprinta. ¡Qué chulo! Hostia, es verdad, tiene una lanza. Tiene una lanza, es verdad. Hostia, ¿por qué no me he fijado que tenía una lanza? Hostia, es verdad, y tiene como habilidades de lancero. Mira, 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 mira. ¿Se da cuenta ahora? Sí, coño, joder, estoy flipando con esas mecánicas, esas partículas. Vale, voy a tener esa mira. Pero de la lanza ya se sabía, ¿no? Yo qué sé, no me acuerdo. ¡Hala, qué bonito! Cómo se nota el SSD, ¿eh? Clases. Crossbows. Eso es ballesta. Grants level 1 power shot. Vale, cambia las habilidades de arco a ballesta.
Permafrost bolts can be used to disrupt packs of enemies to prevent them from closing in on your position. You can then follow up with armor-piercing
Vale,
bolts
cuando
that
atacas
cleanse
varias
your damage.
veces... ¡Hala! Se convierte como en un aura. Para cuando disparas. ¡Qué chulo!
In this area, we're helping
¡Hala! Esa mecánica mola. Junto con una Silus. Esto es preview del PoE 2, correcto. Oh my god. Mira, mira, mira. ¡Hala! ¡Qué texturas, tío!
Because the bolt types are the skill gems, support
¡Qué
gems that are added
bonito!
to them will modify whatever the skill is that you're using.
Me está
Here we're
dando
going to
toque
add
que no se
multiple
active la hora de
projectiles to our
precisión, ¿eh?
incendiary bolt.
Oh, oh. No funciona, ¿no? Ah, sí. Lo tiene en la otra habilidad. Vale, vale, que tiene varias. Vale, vale, entonces sí que dispara varios. Vale. Mola. Tiene como un pequeño delay, como que carga, pero está chulísimo. Ah, yo lo veo muy distinto, Viking. Me da toque que no se laguee.
In Path of Exile 2, we're doing a lot more interesting things with monster
Ha fallado.
packs. Here you
Que
can
no.
see some of the monsters patrolling around.
Ah, vale. Están hablando de los cambios a los packs de monstruos. ¡Hala, hala, hala! Cuidado, cuidado, cuidado. Que te hostias. ¡Hala! Hay bichos piedra. ¡Qué chulo! Que al principio te caen piedras. ¡Qué gracioso! ¿A cuántos FPS podemos jugar? A ver, a 20-30. Tampoco nos vengamos arriba. Que no tiene subtítulos. Ya. Os estoy intentando decir lo que me entiendo. Lo que alcanzo a entender. Porque escucho en plan... ¡Ah! Está disparando. Está mostrando gameplay, en verdad. Básicamente ha dicho que hay un cambio en los bichos. Que hay como packs de monstruos y luego algún que otro bicho suelto. Que no todo va a girar en plan a monster packs. Eso entendido. A lo mejor me equivoco. Corregidme si me equivoco. Coge la currency pasando por encima. No, está tirando el ZZ. Le da la Z para desactivar el este. ¿Ves? Ahora mismo tiene la Z activada. Nos van a enseñar otro boss, el impalador. Pero cómo está rota esa habilidad de balesa de esto, cómo hagas ya. Está guay. Guau, pero mola un montón. La animación mola. Pero esa persona que va contigo, ¿quién es? Otra balista. Hola, esta tiene... esta tiene otra habilidad. Dependiendo de la ballesta tienes una habilidad... Hola, vale. Esta tiene lo de que se lanza hacia arriba. Vale. Ah, por eso se llama cascada, ¿no? Porque lo sacan en cascada. Y a mí el aspecto me está gustando mucho. Visualmente mola que flipas. Wow. Tío, las animaciones. Hostia, aquí se van a jugar un Aram. Está guapísimo. Mira. ¡Hala! Vale, lo congela y... ¡Hala, qué chulo! Me alegra que hayan puesto un nuevo tutorial. El viejo estaba medio pobre. ¿Cómo voy a necesitar? Esperemos que no necesites un ordenador. Es verdad, coge los ítems o... ¿Qué está pasando con los ítems? No entiendo. Ultimatum. Eliges PoE 1 o PoE 2, ¿te imaginas? Aquí en Twitch, no, arriba a la derecha junto en tu perfil, Myler. ¿Un Jeweler? A ver si lo pilla. No lo pilla. Simplemente se va. ¡Hala! ¡Qué guapo la animación de esos bichos! ¡Mira qué guapo! ¡Hala! Pero no le están bajando la vida. ¿Qué nivel estará jugando? Pero el drop, no lo entiendo, tío. Porque no se ¡Hala! Se bajan de FPS. No, hombre, no. Ya sé que está en beta, hombre. ¿Dónde miro el progreso? Arriba en tu barra. Arriba a la derecha. ¿Eso es una subida de nivel? No. Ah, o sí. Puede ser. No, pero está a mitad de nivel. Dios, pero visualmente es precioso, Yo quiero saber qué pasa con los ítems, porque no clica en ellos, pero desaparecen. Pero no le está dando a la ZZ porque a veces los ítems se ven. Vale, esto es un boss. Está guapo. El boss es precioso, Dios, qué duro comparado con los bichos, ¿no? ¡Hola! Ah, no puedes... ¡Hala! La meto un tortón, 43% de 30 minutos. Dale, dale, dale. Geray, muchas gracias por ese nivel 1, tío. Muchas gracias por esa sub, tío. Muchas gracias, guapo. Ahora te envío tu besito. Yo es que estoy flipando todavía. Yo estoy flipando. Me acaban de hipear por el PoE 2 y no me lo esperaba. Pero que es un boss del acto 2, tío. Y parece un boss de tier 16. ¡Hala, hala, hala! ¡Qué bonito! En verdad estoy viendo órganos y mierdas en el suelo, ¿no? Pero me parece súper bonito. Sí, sí, sí. Muy pequeña la zona para pegarte. ¡Hala! Es muy bonito. Ahora, la interfaz sigue igual de pocha. Talk to the defector. Te enseña... No, solo el acto 2. Ahora, los diálogos ahora ya no se ven arriba, se ven abajo. ¿Sabéis quién solo va a leer? Efectivamente, Pableras, yo no. ¿Cómo se ve cuánto drop llevas? Arriba a la derecha en el iconcito de tu perfil.
This is the Ardura caravan, your town in Act 2.
¡Oh! ¡Hala! ¡La caravana! ¡Cómo mola! Se ve precioso. ¡Hala! 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 La ciudad esta que es en una caravana. ¡Dios! ¿Cómo suena cada vez el cambio de skill? Va a poner el sonido de su madre. Sí, sí. Se llama Se quema como las profecías, sí. No me parece tanto cambio como para que sea PoE 2, sino un simple parche. Es que no es un juego nuevo, es una campaña nueva. Y no se ve. ¿No lo ves bien? Ah, en el móvil no sé cómo... En el celular no sé cómo se ve el progreso. Pero si lo tenías vinculado, espérate. ¿No parecen como los de Haste? ¿O estoy flipando? De Marrakech, de Faridum, Corruption, de Lost City of Kiev, de Mastodon, de Valley of Titan, de Marrakech Burial Tower. Ah, vas a poder elegir las misiones ahí. What the fuck? Porque cuando ha clicado ahí, ha saltado el símbolo de la misión en el otro personaje. Eso parece que los diálogos lo presentan como en Haste. algo bueno tenían que sacar de Haste, ¿no? Sí, yo también veo un montón de NPCs nuevos. Tío, pero ¿por qué estamos ayudando a una gente que utiliza esclavos? Que estamos en el siglo XXI, no me jodas. Para verlo en el móvil tienes que ir a tu perfil, luego clicar en Drops e Inventario. ¿Qué acaba de decir? No lo he escuchado, mierda. No sé qué quest, lo último que he escuchado es quest.
Storm Spear fires a lightning projectile which splits on contact.
Vale, van a utilizar otras habilidades ahora. Vale, es una habilidad nueva de rayo que se divide cuando golpea. Está muy chula.
However, if you're willing to stand in place for long enough, you can throw a second
Y
spear that will
Blazing
fan
Lance.
the flames for much more damage.
Ah, lanzas una lanza que deja fuego en el suelo, que hace daño por el tiempo, pero que si la utilizas otra vez explota. ¿Ha cambiado de color el overlay o he flipado? Qué chula la habilidad esa de fuego, ¿no?
We've just found a unique spear. It's called Devada's
La
Wind.
vida, hombre,
This
la
spear has
vida,
an extra
quitea.
modifier that
Un
synergizes
carry, un
really
golem.
well with
Qué
Storm
chulo.
Spear. When you disengage,
Este
you
que
get
está
two
aquí se va a pegar el primer mes de
projectiles
puedos
when your
jugando a
projectiles
lanzazos como un campeón. Hola, las lanzas, qué guapas. Vale, te da 2 proyectiles adicionales. A ver, la animación. Vale, más proyectiles. Qué guapo el dash hacia atrás, ¿no? No, pero solo las habilidades que lanzan proyectiles. El lanzazo sigue igual. Curioso. Dice que solo me falta un 77. Venga, tienes muchas horas, ¿eh? Panteón, es verdad. Pero Panteón la lanza rayos. ¿Qué es eso que tira al suelo? ¡Ah! Lo de los flechazos era una habilidad suya. ¡Qué chulo! Blacksmith Whetstone. ¿Se llama así en el juego? Mira, mira la animación de cuando sale corriendo. ¡Qué guapo! Calista. Molaría una habilidad como Calista. Que tengas que ir full velocidad de ataque. ¡Hala, hala, hala, hala! ¡Qué guapo! El ta 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 ta. ¡Qué chulo! Mira, mira. ¡Hala! Me ha gustado esa animación, ¿eh? Ha saltado encima del bicho. ¡Wow! Bueno, gente, ya sabemos que vamos a usar Trinity Support. Todos los personajes son nuevos, Renzoe. En la campaña del PoE 2 todos los personajes son nuevos. Bueno, al menos las ascendencias son nuevas. Oh, lo siento, Renzoe. ¿Puede alguien responderle en el chat de que los personajes en el PoE 2 van a ser distintos? Que el pobre no puede verlo. Me da toque ver tantos iconos. A mí también, la verdad. Me está recordando el último acto del Diablo 3. No hablar idioma Diablo. Nunca lo he jugado. Sí, tiene pinta de que han bujado. ¡Hala! Cuando peleas con dos bosses al mismo tiempo se ve la vida de los dos. ¡Qué bueno! Ahora no tienes que seleccionar a un boss para ver cómo va de vida. ¡Dios! No os imagináis cómo me gusta eso. Sí, sí, que no active precisión me está dando mucho toque. No seáis pesimistas. ¡Wow! Pero para ser un puto boss del acto 2 ¿no os parece espectacular? Recordad que ahora va a haber un boss por cada instancia, ¿eh? Antes tenías solo 2 o 3 bosses por acto y ahora vas a tener un huevo de bosses. Va a haber un montón de bosses en los actos. Un parche normal, como decía uno. Un parche normal no es, joder. Es una campaña completa nueva con todo lo que se supone. Wow. No, obligatorio es. Obligatorio es. Si no, no estás pudiendo moverte a lo siguiente. ¿Lo mata ya?
If you have any questions about what you
Tío,
just
pero
saw,
¿qué
we'll
pasa
be
con
doing
los
a
ítems?
Q&A later on.
¿Puede
While
ser
Path
que
of
si no
Exile
lo
2
recoges el
definitely
ítem
won't
en
be
un
released
rato
this year,
desaparece?
we do have a Path of Exile expansion you can
Wow.
play 1 week from now. I'd like to
Wow.
introduce Path of Exile Ultimatum.
You only
Vale.
live once, exile.
No tenía ninguna expectativa en el PoE 2, pero de repente como que me interesa. Solo vives una vez exiliado. Puedes elegir. Vale, esto es lo que vimos en el teaser. ¿Vale? Esto es parecido a Ritual. Lo
A
admito.
simple ultimatum.
La área
Live your
limitante.
life and a meager reward, or risk it all for a chance at ungodly riches. For each trial you accept, the challenge grows. But fail.
Vale, te dan a elegir entre seguir pegando. Vale, entiendo. Básicamente te empiezan a salir bichos y a pegar. Y te para un segundo para darte a elegir si quieres seguir pegándote con más riesgo o conformante con la recompensa. Splinters de simulacro. 9 gemas nuevas. Core drop. Vale, supongo que lo de ritual. The Lord's Labyrinth. Han hecho rework a los laberintos. ¡Ala, ala, ala, ala! ¿Qué dices? ¿Hola? Han reworkeado todo. Perandus, Incursión, Delve. No. Los... ¿What?
Ultimate reward requires ultimate risk.
¿Habéis visto un timeless? ¿Cómo se llama? Un timeless. Un keyword timeless. ¿Qué dices? ¡Hostia! ¡Ay, Dios
When some
mío!
people think of the Val civilization, they think of blood sacrifices, Queen at Zeri, or lost temples in
¡Hala!
the jungle. But I think of risking
¡No me lo
items.
esperaba!
From Val orbs through double corruption, the whole Val or no balls meme, we had to make sure that this expansion
Incluso a
covered the
Ciri.
concept of risking
Todo
your items to
reworkeado.
get great reward.
¡Joder! ¡Por
In each
fin!
area of the Ultimatum,
¡Ya era hora!
you'll meet the Trial Master, an emissary of a Val entity
Ahora va a hablar de
only known as
Ultimatum,
Chaos.
¿vale? De lo de las
On behalf of
recompensas
Chaos,
que te
the
tienes
Trial
que
Master
arriesgar para
enacts
conseguir
trials
más.
where exiles must risk an escalating set of valuable rewards as they attempt to overcome progressively more difficult
O
encounters.
lo seguro o lo
In each
arriesgado.
trial, you'll be presented with a reward,
Hombre,
an
la
objective,
diferencia
and
que
a
han
selection
mostrado
of
entre unos
difficulty modifiers
Perandus
that
y un
make the trial
Exalted,
harder.
la
Once you've
diferencia
chosen
es
one of the
tocha,
modifiers, you must then complete that objective under the constraints of that modifier in order to win the promised reward. If you succeed
Vale.
in the challenge, the trial master will
Tienes que
present you with an
matarlos
ultimatum.
antes de tiempo.
Either walk away with what you have earned
El
so
área
far,
es más
or risk
pequeña,
the
en
reward to win additional rewards.
este
He'll
ultimátum.
offer you another item if
Vale,
you can select an
una
additional
recompensa
difficulty modifier
ganada.
and complete the challenge
Otro
with both
otro
modifiers
más.
present.
Vale,
If you
a ver
fail,
el
though,
anillo.
you'll lose both rewards and
Enséñamelo.
walk away with nothing.
Vale, vas añadiendo como modificadores.
If you succeed, you'll be offered an additional reward in exchange for adding yet another difficulty modifier that
Ultimatum
stacks on
failure.
top of the current ones. This cycle continues until
Cómo
rewards
está
become
jugando con los
increasingly valuable
slams,
and the encounter extremely
Mírale.
difficult. You'll
Juegan
have to
con
pick
una
a
build
point to end your
rotilla,
run and claim your spoils before you
Oh,
make
un
the
mapa.
encounter too hard and lose everything.
¡Oh!
At its longest, an ultimatum in endgame maps can sometimes have up to 10 fast trials in
Vale.
a row, with a special
¡Hostia!
surprise in
Para
the
ser
last
una
one.
recompensa pocha, un montón de
In
cosas,
maps, you'll occasionally find
Dos
items
caos,
called
dos
inscribed
saqueador,
ultimatums.
4 valor. Pero
These
ponte un
items can be
filtro.
placed in the map device to
Que
transport
Neversing
you to
los
the
hace
trial
muy
master's
fácil.
domain. Each inscribed ultimatum
Wow.
specifies an offering that you must bring with you, a reward
Porque
you
tiene
can
un
earn,
exante.
and an assortment of ultimatum
¡Hala, qué
difficulty
chulo los
modifiers.
portales! ¿Cómo
If
van a
you're
caer a
able to
20
complete the
euros?
trial, the trial
¡Hala!
master will
¡Dobla la
reward you with
currency
a specified
sacrificada!
reward,
Si lo
which
pasas.
usually
No,
works
no,
around
no, no, no,
twice
no,
the
no, no,
value
no,
of
no,
the
no,
item
no,
you
no,
must
no,
bring.
no. Pero ¿qué
For
cojones?
example, you may
¡Están
be able to
locos!
risk an exalted orb to win a stack of 2, or potentially risk a stack of 5 to win a stack of 10. Naturally, inscribed ultimatums
cojones?
can be traded with other players, so if you don't feel capable of completing a difficult challenge, you may
Si-
be able to
si-
trade
si
it away
gastas
for a
5, puedes
portion
ganar
of the
10.
difference in price between the reward and the item that must be risked.
Dobla
Likewise, if you have
las-
a powerful
dobla
character,
las
you may be able to
Divination card.
selectively
Oh,
trade
mi-
for profitable ultimatums to run.
Dobla la currency.
There are also new unique items that can
Ah,
only be
que te
obtained from
pone ahí lo
ultimatum.
que tienes que
One
doblar.
such unique is
Hostia,
the
una
Glimpse
Void
of Chaos
Battery.
Val Mask,
Sacrifica un
which
Whispering
provides
Ice por
powerful
un Void
benefits to
Battery.
your
Un
maximum
casco
life,
nuevo, a ver.
mana, and energy shield at the cost of having severely reduced
Can be
elemental
modified with
resistances and no
corrupted.
chaos resistance. The
Vale.
item can be corrupted multiple times and has unique corruption outcomes, such as removing a random modifier or transforming it into a different random corrupted unique helmet entirely that retains its corruption implicit mod. Another new Val unique item in Ultimatum is Mahuzottl's Machination, which grants you 6 keystone passives at
cojones?
once. Combining all
No lo he
these
entendido.
keystones results in some very unusual outcomes, and the item features
Hola,
an
hala,
entirely
Corrupted
new
Soul,
unique
Divine Flesh,
keystone as
Eternal
well.
Jode, Everything Sacrifice. Esos son
We have
puntos
worked
del,
hard to make
del,
sure that
del
Ultimatum
árbol.
doesn't punish
Todos
you for being in a
juntos en
party
ese
with other
escudo.
players.
¡Qué locura!
Items
Va al
that
pack
compete in trials
también.
together, but have separate rewards available to them that will need to be locked in to
Divine
begin the
Ire.
trial. Each player votes on which difficulty modifiers to select. If there's a draw in votes, the modifier will be chosen at random. If one player wants to take their reward and opt out
Ala,
to the next
pueden
difficulty
votar
trial,
si
they're
vas
able
en
to do
parte.
so without stopping the other party members from
Hostia,
continuing.
la democracia ha
Rewards
llegado a
are
Guerra y
not
Class.
allocated to the players who earned them.
Ahora os leo.
So that's Path of Exile Ultimatum. I can tell you, on release day, a lot of our
Wow.
developers are looking forward to watching Twitch.
Tiene que
so we can
elegir,
see
y si
players
no.
risking far
Vale,
too much
lo-
in order to
los,
try to
el
get
rework.
rewards.
El rework, esto es lo que más me ha
Speaking of
flipado.
rewards,
Wow.
there's a lot to talk about here. We
A ver.
had a look at Path of Exile's past reward systems, and we honestly
sistema
feel
de
many of them are
recompensas
out
es
of
el
date.
drop.
Many of them kind of lack identity, and to
Vale,
top it all
eso
off,
es el-
like, the
el
core
reward del drop.
pool of just items that drop when you kill regular monsters just wasn't really compelling enough. Like, you know that feeling where any monster could drop a mirror, We want that for a whole slew of different items. And so we've made a lot of changes.
Vale, que básicamente el drop de los monstruos no tiene nada que ver con el drop de Endgame.
Really interesting. There's ones to basically every piece of League and
Han hecho un
expansions.
montón de cambios, dice.
And we're going to go through all of those for quite a while.
Cuando matas bichos, ¿eh?
And I should mention that every change we're about to discuss not only affects
No sé cuál es, no he podido fijarme.
We started by reviewing which items can drop from monsters and chests in the core game. To make sure the core
Vale, que
drop pool
afecta también a
remains
estándar
compelling,
este
we've made
cambio.
various changes. You can now find 2 additional currency items as core drops, orbs of
Vale, han
binding from the
cambiado los
Harbinger
drops que
League,
ítem de
and
los
the new
monstruos
Veiled
y de
Chaos
los
Sword, which we'll
cofres.
reveal in more detail soon. We've also added 5 new Atlas-based types, like this Energy Shield Recharge Amulet. These drop in specific regions of the
¡Wala!
Atlas of
Un
Worlds and have
nuevo
some
tipo de
powerful
caos.
non-implicit mods. Another topic related to the core drop pool is that of boss runs.
Un nuevo
Veteran
anillo.
community
Increzca
members
os
will
damas.
remember
Ya era
when we
hora,
used to
por
do
Dios.
Val Oversoul
Ya
runs
era hora.
over and over because they were a profitable use of time. Final act bosses now drop more and better items, giving you a much more satisfying close to a difficult act and a more
Vale,
item-focused approach to
dicen
getting
que
ready for
quieren
maps if you
devolver
prefer.
de que cuando matabas a un boss tenías una buena
We've also added a
recompensa.
bunch
Eso
of
me
very
gusta.
powerful and valuable League-specific uniques into the core drop pool. This means that they can drop from any sufficiently high-level monster without you having to engage with specialized content. Examples of these
Vale, un
are
montón de
Badge of the
objetos.
Brotherhood, Asylum, Pledge of Hands, Maloney's Mechanism, Brutus's Lead
Vale,
Sprinkler, and
mira,
Headhunter.
vale, han metido esto
The goal
como...
of all
¡El
these
Headhunter!
changes is
No,
to make sure that
what?
every monster
What?
you kill in Path of Exile has a chance to drop
No, no,
something
no, 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 no,
incredibly
no, no.
valuable, regardless of what content you're playing. On top of all of that, we have added
Eso va a
handful of
poder
new
dropear
vendor
de cualquier
recipes,
bicho.
which let you make some pretty cool stuff. We really miss the days when players were scrambling to try to find unknown recipes, and so we're looking forward to seeing how long it takes for you to discover how these ones work. We have also
Han
introduced
añadido
a
un
new
montón
type
de
of
recetas
reliquary
nuevas.
key into the core drop pool for this expansion. If you're very lucky, you can find a Val reliquary key from any monster or chest in Path of Exile. When consumed in
¿Qué
the
hacen?
marketplace, it gives you access to a
¡Están
vault with a
locos!
chest that drops a special foil version of a Val-themed unique item. Each unique has an equal chance of dropping. Due to the value and power level of the
Wow.
items contained within, this is the rarest
era hora.
reliquary key ever added to Path of Exile.
Me encanta el reliquary, tío.
The rest of our reward
Es
changes
súper
relate to
divertido.
items that you can earn by playing past content like prior leagues and expansions. We have 2 goals here. The first is to add
Wow.
and improve items so that all past content is a compelling
Lo
set of
metieron de
rewards.
nuevo, sí, ahora
The
permanente.
second goal is to make it so that the best way to get any reward is to play the content that is
Vale.
primarily associated with that type of reward.
Es que estoy intentando
Path of
escuchar.
Exile's first
Vale,
expansion,
sí.
Sacrifice of the Val, introduced a new ultimate boss, Adzeri, Queen of the Val.
Han
This
reworkado
fight
las
holds up pretty well
recompensas
these
de
days,
otras
considering that
cosas,
it's
de otras
7 years
mecánicas
old,
antiguas.
but
Ya
its
era hora.
rewards really needed a refresh. The Sacrificial
Adzeri,
Guard base type that
primero.
drops from Adzeri has been significantly improved with the addition of an implicit mod that grants +1 to the level
Vale.
of all Val gems you have equipped. We have also added 2 new unique items
Vale,
to
han
Adzeri's
mejorado la
drop
armadura
and
que
2
dropea
more to
Adzeri.
Uber Adzeri.
Vale.
One of which is the Adzeri's
Más
Roll
una de las
Judgment
gemas
staff,
Val,
which
¿vale?
prevents you from being stunned or having your damage reflected.
Han añadido
It grants a skill that
objetos
alternates
únicos.
between Flames of Judgment and Storm of Judgment when used, as if you absorb the powers of Adzeri herself.
Oh, qué chulo. Va,
Skipping
Portate
forward
se
to
está
the
frotando
Alpha
las
16's
manos.
release of Ascendancy, we have
Me
made
sale
some
error.
changes to how you receive your labyrinth
No sé
enchantments. Previously, when you
Vale, ya
completed
podéis
the labyrinth and
recogerlo,
went
¿no?
to enchant an item,
Vale, vale.
you couldn't see what random result you'd get. Now, the
Vale,
result for each type of enchantment is
mira,
shown to you in
la
advance, so you
recompensa
can
de
make
los
the right
laberintos.
choice. In the Eternal Labyrinth, you're now offered 3 different helmet enchantments to pick between, in addition to the boots and gloves. This will make it a lot easier to
ver.
find enchantments relevant to the skills you're using and to apply them to appropriate items.
¡No me lo creo!
In 3.14, we're
Gracias.
going to stop giving out unique jewels for each day's fastest labyrinth.
Vas a
runs,
poder
and we've
elegir
added these
Omi.
jewels as very rare drops that you might find in the labyrinth's final reward chests. Another highly requested labyrinth-related improvement is that you can now consume an offering to the goddess.
No
and
me lo
sacrifice the
creo.
open portal
Por
directly
fin.
to a random
Gracias.
trial. This greatly accelerates the speed at which you can find your final trials.
¡Sí!
We've also
¡Puta
added 2
mierda de
new
instancia! Vamos a
labyrinth-specific
poder
unique
abrir el
items,
laberinto
including the
desde ahí.
Scales of
¡A
Justice
los
unique
trials!
sword, which rewards building
¿Qué
your
coño?
character with a careful balance of life and mana. If used
No,
correctly,
pensé que se podían
you'll be
abrir el
granted protection
laberinto.
from shock and ignite, as well as additional fire damage.
¡Mierda! Me la he comido
Kadira
esa.
Perandus now has a much larger selection of unique item rewards. We have also rebalanced all sources of Perandus coins
Oh,
so that Perandus
mucho
content
fire
is still the best place to get them from. A craft introduced
Gracias.
in Harvest kinda destroyed the Perandus coin economy, so we're absolutely fixing that at the same time.
Vale, han reworkado
Essences
Perandus.
have been numerically rebalanced and are in general stronger than they were before. Screaming Essences can now be used to reroll rare
Vale.
items, in addition to their capability to upgrade items to rare. The four
Vale, ahora
corrupted
las esencias
essences
son más
have had some of
fuertes.
their less useful outcomes improved or replaced. Now, the only way to get the powerful upgrade-only top-tier essences is through remnants of corruption, which come
No
from
alcanzo
essence
a verlo
content.
todo, tío.
Blessings, the currency used to upgrade breach uniques, can now be used to upgrade breach stones between tiers also.
Vale, han hecho que algunas cosas solo se pueden
Abyss
obtener de
jewels have been
esencias. Ya estaba
rebalanced
así,
and
¿no?
are on average more powerful than
¡Hola,
they
qué
were
bueno!
before. We've also buffed Abyss chests to make sure that they are the best
Por
place
fin
to
van a
get Abyss
servir
jewels.
de algo. Gracias.
We've also introduced Abyss scarabs and
Vale,
four new
vale, han
Abyss
mejorado
specific
las
jewels,
Abyss.
such as
Dios, ahora la
Techrobes
armadura
gains,
de
Murderous Eye
Haze
increases
de los
your
6
main
Abyss va a ser la
critical
hostia.
strike chance and your offhand critical strike multiplier based on how
Vale.
many
¡Oh!
Murderous Eye jewels you
Escarabajo de Abyss. ¡Qué
Another
bueno!
example is the
Y una
Ulu's
Abyss
Gaze
única.
Searching Eye Jewel, which counts how many searching eye jewels you have equipped and grants
¡Qué
your
chulo!
projectiles a chance to be able to chain when colliding with terrain proportional to this number. These unique jewels have a chance to drop from any
¡Oh,
of the
qué
unique
bueno,
encounters
tío!
at the end of the
¡Qué
Abyss
bueno!
tests, and these
Menos
encounters are now
mal.
by far the most reliable way to obtain
Joder.
a Stygian Vice belt. We have
Dios,
added a
vaya
handful of new
pedazo de
beast
mejoras
crafts,
para
such as add a
todos.
mod to a
Todas
map
las
or add a mod
mecánicas.
to an influenced
Son
item
a
which
ver,
consume
algunas son más
existing
tochas que
beasts.
otras, evidente.
There are some other aspects of beast crafting that we've been keeping our eye on for a while, and we're taking this opportunity to rework them, so that high-level gameplay is less reliant on obtaining certain beast crafts.
Vale,
Now, when you use
han
a
añadido
splitting
más
beast craft
crafteos
recipe
a
on
las
an item,
bestias. Eso
both
está de
copies
puta
are marked
madre.
as split, which prevents them from being split again. You cannot imprint split items. One of my favorite reward changes in this expansion is that Incursion's Temple of Atsuato can now be itemized. Once you have access to the map device, Alva can turn your completed and ready-to-run temple into a tradable object that can be consumed in the map device. This means that players can specialize in either making temples to trade to other players or trading for
Vale,
temples that are ready for them to run.
vender las estas al 3.
There have also been a lot of
Joder,
changes to the temple.
qué bueno.
As you may know, specific rooms in the Temple of Atsuato can drop unique incursion items that can
Para
be
vender
later
las
upgraded.
salas de doble
Many of these
corrupción.
base unique items have
Dios.
been improved in this update. Previously, the temple's boss, the Omnitect, dropped random rare items with special incursion mods on them. Now it also
Vale,
drops
han
rare
mejorado
items with incursion
los
mods
ítems
based around the
únicos.
themes of the rooms
¡Hostia,
your
qué
temple
tocho!
contains. Higher tier rooms
Oye, ¿y
cost
esa
more rare
habilidad cuál
items.
es?
Specific
Va con-
rooms
va-
now
va
add
con una
specific monster
guadaña.
packs to the temple, which results in more monster density, challenge, and reward. Temple mods have been buffed so that if your
Hola,
temple
hola.
has more high-tier rooms, then it's equivalent to a good map. We have
Vale,
performed a
ahora va a
modernization
ser
path
mucho
on
más
rewards from
peligroso.
temple rooms so that they're competitive with rewards from newer leagues. The explosive room also contains some basic chests that can be opened with flash powder kegs if you don't need them for opening a path elsewhere.
Vale,
in the
han
temple.
añadido cosas de las nuevas ligas.
Delve has had a big increase to early rewards and a reduction to the quantity of
Vale,
high-tier
algunas
rewards
cajas van a
warning at
poder
very deep
abrirse
depths.
con las
The end
explosiones.
result
Bien,
is
y
that
ahora,
Delve is a lot
Delve.
more rewarding for almost everyone, but a few extreme players who delve very deep will not be getting quite so rich from it.
Han
A
aumentado
big
la
problem with rewards and
la
betrayal is that
quantity
players
a
deem
nivel
it not
bajo
worthwhile to kill Katarina
y bajado
because
a
it
nivel
resets your
alto.
betrayal syndicate
¿Por qué?
board. In this expansion, we have massively increased the incentive for doing this. Now, if you manage to kill Katarina, all syndicate members drop
Vale.
their rewards at one tier higher than they previously would. This change required the introduction of a new fourth tier of reward from each syndicate member and encourages the use of a larger variety of
Hostia, ahora
syndicate
cuando
targets
matas a
and safe house
Katarina,
leaders.
todos tienen un tier
We've improved
superior.
rewards that were not as interesting or
Hostia, para los
valuable
que
as the
farmean
best ones.
Katarina está de
For cases
putísima
where we
madre.
deemed rewards too powerful, we moved them to tier 4 rather than nerfing them. The tier 4 rewards are approximately twice as powerful as tier 3 ones were.
Eso es de
We've also
locos.
added a new unique item to Katarina's drop pool as further
Ya he
incentive.
reclamado en las alas, grande.
The Cane of
Dios.
Kulomite drops only from Katarina. Similar to Paradoxica, it has 3
Timeless
veiled modifiers
Valve
that must be
Splinter.
unveiled one at a time
Wow.
via Jun. This means that
¡Hostias!
each version of the Cane
Un
could be
nuevo
entirely
staff.
different. And because of the way the
70%
veiled modifier
incrementado
system
de los
works,
Unveil
you have the chance to
Modifier.
get
Ahí
3
pueden
mods that
salir
potentially
muchas
synergize
mierdas.
extremely well.
O sea, un
Or
más
maybe
2
just
se
a crazy
convertiría en
pack of
un
mods that
más
don't work
3.
together.
Un más 3 a
Furthermore,
las
the Cane
gemas
itself scales
se
at the
convertiría en un
magnitudes
más
of any
5.
unveiled modifiers on it. We have made some changes to how unveiling mods works. You still get offered a choice of 3 mods, but these are now more powerful versions of the existing ones. The powerful ones are unveiled onto items,
los
and the normal
unveil.
versions are the ones you unlock that can be crafted onto items. Also, progress towards unlocking crafting of veiled mods is at a slightly faster rate than before. Some very powerful
Vale, que
veiled modifiers are now only
el
available at their
modificador
original
Unveil
strength in the
va a
unveiled
ser
version
más
of the
fuerte
modifier,
que el propio
and the crafted
crafteo.
version of
Así
the
que ahora,
modifier is
aparte de
lowered in
servir
power.
para craftear,
Earlier in the presentation, I alluded to the new
Vale,
veiled
puede
chaos
servir
swords
para
and
mejorar
item
el
that has been
ítem.
added to Path of Exile's core drop
o
pool.
sea, ahora
This
el
new
este
currency item rerolls the
de
target
añadir un
item
modo
mods,
Unveil es
like a
el
regular
caos.
chaos orb does, but one mod is
reforja un
guaranteed to
ítem
be a veiled mod.
incluyendo
While I
un
can drop from
modificador
many more
veil.
straw chests in the game, by far the most effective way of getting it is from isling and some betrayal
Solo
spells.
puede ser utilizado en los objetos que tienen este veil.
We've
Pero
introduced
qué
3
puta
new types
mierda
of
es esta.
incubators for Blight, Metamorph, and Delirium.
Ah, vale, para que
and
tengas la
modernized the rewards
posibilidad de
from
que
the
te
other
salga
incubators.
un veil tocho.
The item yield from chests and blighted
Más
maps is now
incubadores,
affected by a
¿vale? De
portion of the
Delirium,
map
Blight
item's quantity,
y
giving you a
de
reason to roll your
Metamorph.
blighted maps if you can handle the additional challenge. Anointments to blighted maps have been rebalanced and reworked so that each has its own purpose and with a consistent increase in
Ahora los
reward as
cofres
the
estarán
orders get
afectados
rarer.
por la quantity
This
del
is
mapa.
basically entirely buffs, because one big nerf we needed to do was already done last league. You can now corrupt blighted
dices?
maps. These can very rarely drop the new tainted oil, which allows you to apply anointments to corrupted items.
Wow.
We have also introduced blighted scarabs. We
¡Hola!
have added 2 new types of catalysts, Thunder and Speed, and
Un
Chaos
aceite
Strikes,
para
respectively.
poder
These new
añadirle un veil
catalysts are
a los
rarer than
amuletos
previous ones.
corruptos. ¡Gracias!
As
¡Gracias!
discussed in the recent development manifesto, the
Vale,
current
Catalyst de
3.13
Speed y
version
de
of Harvest
crítico.
is too rewarding,
De puta
so we're
madre.
rebalancing its
Vale.
crafting and also increasing how often you'll encounter portals
Se
to the
viene.
Sacred Grove. The current version spams you with way too many crafts, so each seed has a chance to grant a craft now, reducing the overall number of crafts you can perform per garden, though you will encounter the grove 60% more than you did before. Some of the most powerful crafting options have been removed or changed. The Heart of the Grove encounter is now a map fragment that can randomly drop from tier 4 harvest bosses instead of rarely replacing the entire grove when it spawns. With the release of Ultimatum, Ritual will be added to the core game, with a chance to occur in
Así
each
no,
map you play. It has also been added to the Atlas passive skill tree system and is available as a Sextant mod.
O sea que los nerfeos se mantienen. ¡Qué cabrones!
Almost every time we release a league, we later roll it into the core game with a chance to spawn in maps. Usually 10%, sometimes 5%. When Ritual is
Eso
added
me ha
to
hecho
the core
daño.
game, we are standardizing this rate at 8%, which means a small decrease for some leagues and an increase for
¡Qué
harvest.
duro!
We've rebalanced other things to compensate, like the rate at which heist rogues level up. Most Atlas passive trees have the same increase in chance for bonus content, meaning they now offer more than double the chance of encountering your preferred content. So I just spent a ton of time describing lots of buffs to Path of Exile's different reward systems, and there was one nerf that I left to last. And this gives us a nerf to a league that I kind of care about a bit. Talisman was one that I kind of led the design on, and players joke that it's my favorite league. Now, in the
Vale, ahora van a hablar del dropeo de ítems de los bosses.
There was a change to talismans. Basically, they weren't good enough, so the team decided to add a random anointment to them, which made them a lot more powerful, and also to juice up the mods to make them well rolled. And that was overkill. Like, as you've seen recently, talismans have just been dropping with insane mods and great anointments. And we felt in this expansion, especially because you can use tainted oils in order to redo the anointments on talismans, because now you can modify corrupted amulets. Honestly, they don't need the well-rolled mods anymore, and so we've removed that. Talismans are still compelling, but they're not quite where
Está
they were
hablando
in
de,
the
que,
last league.
de los talismanes. Atento,
Every
paleras,
Path of
¿eh?
Exile expansion needs new ways for players to slaughter their enemies. In Path of Exile Ultimatum, this takes
Vale,
the
no
form
van a
of
ser
4
tan
new
buenos
skill
como
gems
las
and 4
otras
support
veces.
gems. In line
Vale,
with
las
Ultimatum's
nuevas
powerful
habilidades
form,
y
these
las
gems
gemas.
focus on
Que es
blood.
mucha
The
información
idea
de
is spending
golpe.
life rather than
Mucha
mana to use your skills.
información.
Alongside the new skill and support gems, we've also made some adjustments to the low life mechanic, including
Se ha dicho la
changing
que
the
se
low
dobla,
life
pero no ha
threshold
dicho
to
cómo,
50%.
pórtate.
This makes
eso
it
no ha
much
dicho nada.
easier and safer to stay on low life for builds where
Ha
it
nerfeado
matters.
talismán.
Typically, when players create
Mierda.
low-life builds,
¿Cómo
they
nerfea
rely on
talismán?
Energy Shield to protect themselves against incoming damage. The new skill Petrified Blood enables low-life builds to instead
Petrified
use some of their
Blood.
life pool to absorb hits. While it's active, you can't recover life above 50% through any method other than flasks. Sources of life recovery like life regeneration and life leech only apply to the bottom half of your life pool. Additionally, a portion of incoming hit damage that affects the lower half of your life pool is spread out over time rather than being applied instantly.
Básicamente bloqueas para que tu vida no
Corrupting
pueda
Fever
bajar de
consumes a
X.
chunk of your life and grants you a buff that causes all your hits to apply corrupted blood to your enemies.
What the fuck,
Corrupted
vaya
blood
aura.
stacks up with each hit, causing more and more physical damage over time. When you have consumed a
Vale,
certain
es un
amount of life to
archimago de
cast
vida.
skills from your life
Sacrificas
pool,
una
the buff's
cantidad de
duration
tu vida.
refreshes. Essentially, as long as you're consuming life to use skills, you'll be
Ahora,
causing
en un
damage
rato.
over time to stack
Me
on
encanta.
enemies. Be careful though.
Vale.
The Exsanguinate skill shoots tendrils of blood in front of you at the cost of life rather than mana. In addition to a strong physical damage
Vale.
hit, it also applies a physical damage over time debuff, which can stack up to 3
Vale,
times.
lanza sangre
You can
de
also support
frente.
Exsanguinate so that its tendrils
Vale, quieren
point
que
from one
juguemos
target
con
to the
nuestra
next.
vida, ¿vale?
Reap conjures a giant bloody scythe.
Los
swings
modificadores
across
de
a selected
spell
area,
aplican al
applying
damage
strong
over
hit
time.
damage
Eso es
and
muy
physical
duro, ¿eh?
damage over time. Each use of the skill causes it to gain a
¿Ves?
charge.
Esto es lo que os he dicho, el ataque de la guadaña. Qué chulo, es bonito. Estoy seguro de que Tai va a empezar la liga con esta habilidad. Es muy él, ¿eh? Y te da como una especie de cargas llamadas cuesta vida.
The first of these is the arrogance support, which causes
Una
supported skills
support
to reserve
2.
life instead of mana, and also provides an increase to
Supported
the
skill
effective
reserve
auras
life
of the
instead
supports.
of mana.
Just like the original Blood Magic support gem,
Pero
the
tiene más
reservation
área.
multiplier diminishes as the gem levels up. The Life Tap support gem causes supported skills to cost life instead of mana. Once you've consumed a certain amount of life to use a skill, you gain
Entiendo.
Life Tap, which increases your
Como
damage for a few
Blood
seconds.
Magic, pero peor.
The Cruelty support gem grants a buff called Cruelty, which increases the damage over time you deal with supported skills. It also boosts
Y
the
life
hit
tap,
damage from
vale.
supported skills,
Cruelty
and the Cruelty
support.
buff gets stronger the harder you hit. This gem is designed as an additional
No estoy
option for
entendiendo
builds
una
that
mierda,
focus on both hits and
No me
damage
da
over
tiempo a
time.
leerlas.
The Bloodthirst support gem is a new option for low life attackers. This gem adds a percentage of your life as physical weapon
Vale,
damage
que
while
está
you're
para
on
las
low
builds de
life,
damas
letting low
overtime y
life
daño.
attack-based builds really scale their
Vale.
damage, which wasn't an option before. Alongside a Val-themed expansion and blood-themed gems, it felt
Esta
right
es
to take the
buena.
opportunity
Las
to improve
supportes de
Val
attack
skills, which are
hacen daño
supercharged
físico
versions of
equivalente al
regular gems that
2%
charge
de
up
tu
with
vida
souls of
si
your
estás
slain
con
enemies to deal
low
huge
life.
bursts of damage. One of the main improvements is that you now get far more souls for Val skills from damaging unique enemies, so your Val skills will recharge faster against bosses.
Vale, han reworkado
You've also
algunas
improved
gemas
the
Val
F
para
series
que hagan
rating
más
unique
daño.
jewel. Alongside increasing the duration of your Val skills, it also grants a chance to regain all
Vale,
consumed
y
souls.
las gemas Val
Val
recargan más
skills have
rápido
also
contra
received a
bosses.
balance
Esto
pass
está
that you
bien.
can check out in the full Path of Exile Ultimatum patch notes in a few days. So we've covered most of the key components that make
What?
up Path of Exile Ultimatum. Keep an eye on the news over the next week as we reveal the finer
Vale, ya
details
dirán
of
todos
what's
los
coming.
cambios.
We'll move on
Vale,
to the
los
Q&A
supporter
shortly
pack,
to answer your burning questions.
dinerito,
but first,
dinerito.
let's have a quick look at the new supporter packs that are available right now to celebrate the launch of Ultimatum and help fund ongoing development of Path of Exile. The Silver Crescent and Imperial Sun supporter packs come with masses of points to spend in the store, social frames, forum titles and badges, a download of the digital soundtrack, and of course, exclusive cosmetic microtransactions such as armor sets, alternate helmets, and weapon skins.
Oh.
The Silver Crescent series has an exclusive portal effect, and the Imperial Sun series has an exclusive aura effect.
Esta me gusta.
Each
La
series has 2
armadura.
packs,
El arco
and the
no.
smaller packs can be upgraded to their respective large pack anytime while they're still on sale. These are, of course, in addition to the new core packs that were released at the end of last year. Remember to check those
Vale,
out if
como
you
siempre.
haven't already. Thank you so much for your support.
Esa espada me gusta.
Purchases of these supporter packs are the only thing that fund ongoing development of Path of Exile, its sequel Path of Exile 2, and expansions like Ultimatum. The reveals we
¿Por
showed
qué no
you
haces
today
un
are
directo
already live on
conjunto con
YouTube. If
Crocs?
you'd link to your friends in case they missed the live stream.
30.000
Please do so. We're
dólares.
keen to get a big turnout on the release of Ultimatum next week.
Habría
We've got
mucha
plenty
gente
more
el
reveals
mes.
planned for the rest of the year. There's a lot more Path of Exile 2 stuff to show
Me voy a
off,
comprar
and
ese
we've
set
also
aunque
got some
tenga
new
que comer
progress on
arroz
Path
por
of Exile
5
Mobile
meses.
we're keen to share
Hola,
with you as well.
Luis. Qué
Anyway,
bronca
if
que
you have
tengo,
any
se me corta
questions
directo
from what
cada
we've
rato,
shown you
imposible
today,
ver.
please
Lo
get them ready
siento,
because I'm about to be
Brel.
joined by Ziggy D as we do
No,
a
que era
Q&A
poco lo
based
que
on your
íbamos a
questions
tener.
for Twitch
Joder.
chat.
Wow. Wow. Hay mucho que asimilar, tío. Hay mucho que asimilar.